Altcoins exploded in 2017 and again in 2021. However, in 2025 we are here and they have just not moved. Why? Today I'll show you the exact macro reasons why altcoins haven't moved and what needs to change in order for them to get moving. Alt season is not magic. It's driven by three key ingredients. Number one, a falling DXY. Number two, low or falling interest rates. Number three, the Fed balance sheet. When these three align, capital flows down the risk curve from Bitcoin to altcoins, and that's when the fun begins. Let's break down these 3 years side by side when alt season triggered. So in 2017, as you can see by this chart here, DXY was falling. If you look at this next chart, interest rates were actually rising. However, you can see from the chart, they were rising from a very low base, which means financial conditions were still easy. From this other chart, the Fed balance sheet, you can see the Fed balance sheet was flat, so they were simply reinvesting maturing securities. The bottom line is the market had breathing room. Now let's look at 2021. 2021 was an absolute storm, right? The perfect macro conditions. We had the Dixie falling again, as you can see from this chart. Rates dropped to zero in that period. We were at zero rates, and the Fed unleashed, from this chart you can see the Fed balance sheet unleashed record quantitative easing. The balance sheet exploded, liquidity poured into the system, and altcoins, amongst other risk assets, went parabolic. Now let's look at 2025, where we are right now. Yes, look at this chart on the dollar. The dollar is falling and is projected to continue falling. Now let's look at the chart for the interest rates. Although they've been coming down, they've come down from an extremely high base. So financial conditions are still tight. And most importantly, have a look at this chart, the Federal Reserve balance sheet. The Fed has not stopped quantitative tightening. Liquidity is still being drained. So what's missing? Fuel. There's no liquidity impulse. Capital is still flowing into Bitcoin. Altcoins are still stuck because rates are still restrictive. QT has not fully ended yet, and risk appetite hasn't fully returned. We can see that from the retail participation in the market. So you must be asking yourself, when does alt season return? Number one, when will the Federal Reserve end their QT program? Meaning the runoff of the balance sheet completely stops and they reinvest the maturities. Number two, when do we anticipate the Federal Reserve to start cutting rates again? And number three, when Bitcoin dominance peaks and starts to roll over. If these three things line up, likely somewhere between the end of 2025, early 2026, it could be time for alts to start to run. To put it simply, I am of the opinion that we will get alt season. However, it's going to be a lot later in the cycle compared to 2017 and 2020 due to these macro conditions. That's why you need to be early or not late. If you want to stay ahead of the shift, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'll be breaking it down week by week, signal by signal, so you are ready before the market is. Drop a comment below. What are you watching for? What's your top altcoin for the next leg up? Let me know what you're buying. Stay sharp. I'll see you in the